know the outlook. I'm not a medical guy, so I mean that's something that you guys have to ask Gary Vitti. I know that Steve wants to play. I do know that. If he's going to be able to, that's a question. I haven't seen him, practice in the last, 3 or 4 days. So, I know he still has some pain, shooting down his leg. I think that's some of the symptoms that he had last year. And again, I really don't know what the future holds, for Steve right now. But the one thing I do know, like I said, in talking to him, he wants to play. He wants to play badly. But I know Gary and our medical team are going to take a look at it, and hopefully we can figure out a way where he gets healthy and he can play.
Earlier in camp, we talked with so much optimism with Steve. He looked so good and seemed healthy. Is this kind of the stuff you were fearing before October, the sort of development that you feared?
Well, I think we were all fearing it throughout the year. We didn't know when this might take place. We didn't know if it was going to be November or in March. So very optimistic when we started training camp because he did look great. He was in unbelievable shape. Just moving up and down the floor with seems like no hitch whatsoever. So, obviously everybody's here disappointed. Nobody more disappointed than Steve Nash.
Short term, he's definitely out for tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I would, unless something miraculously happens, in the next 24 hours, I would definitely say he's out for tomorrow.
Might get a text from Barry on the highway.
You see how that turned out, yeah.
What were you kind of thinking at that time when you're getting that and you just want to see how it is in warm-ups? What's kind of your thought process during that whole?
Well, when I got the text, my first thought was, wow. Okay. that's basically how I responded, okay. And then, when he went out and tried, he came back in, he just said, I can't play, So, I mean, to be honest with you, going into that game, I had pretty much counted him not playing. And even when I got the text, I said, I still don't think it's a chance that he's going to play, but let's see how he feels. So, the thing, from my perspective as a coach, I got to move on with the guys I have. The guys that are here practicing, the guys that are here playing, those are the guys I got to worry about right now. Worried about Steve, obviously, from a personal standpoint. But if I get the word that he can play, then obviously that's a big plus for us. And hopefully, sometime soon, we'll know the answer to that.
Even if he had given you a positive assessment after the warm-up, just the nature of his injury and the fact it's preseason, would you have been inclined to think, I don't want to risk that anymore?
Myself, yeah. But, I know where he's coming from, too. He wants to try it. He wants to see what he can do. He wants to play. So preseason game or not, I think and I've always done this, I would go with the player. If he says, Coach, I want to give it a go, then, more times than not, I'm always been the type of coach that said, okay, let's see how it goes.
How does everything with Nash and not even counting Lynn and Clarkson, but how does that affect running Price's chances of making this team? Does that strengthen his shot here?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it that way, and we have to, with Steve's uncertainty. Jalen going down, hopefully he's back tomorrow or Tuesday. But yeah, that means Ronnie gets more of an opportunity. And I think so far, in my opinion, he's taking full advantage of it.
You obviously want to go into the game knowing kind of the rotation and the players that are going to use. Is Steve one of those few players where you would actually change something if you found out a few hours before the game that you could actually go?
Change something as far as, make an exception as far as maybe playing him, yeah. I think, again, like we talked about maybe a couple of days ago, the one thing that I have to start thinking about is a starting rotation. And I have to start thinking about rotation players coming off the bench. And the uncertainty right now of not knowing, if Steve's going to be able to play or not, puts us all in a little bit of a conundrum. So I just kind of, I got less than a couple of weeks to kind of think about how I want to do this. And that gives me time to find out, Steve's situation as well.
Jeremy said yesterday that you'd want to have a scrimmage before he gave it a go in a game. Is he going to get that today?
Well, we're going to have a scrimmage.
Byron, will your practice include running?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you expect to get him some contact to kind of make sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just to see how he reacts and see how it feels. And then obviously tomorrow morning will be the big test. If it swells up or if it feels still as good as it felt today, then we go forward.
So wait till tomorrow to figure out.
Yeah.
What Jeremy.
Yeah.
How about Ryan? What's What's your thing?
Ryan, last couple of days said he's felt great. You know, this will be the test for Ryan as well. It'll be the first full practice where he's going up and down at 100%. You know, so we'll see how he feels as well.
Byron, obviously coming in with your first year with the team, it takes some more time to put in your systems than somebody that's been with the team for years and years and years, obviously. How much is that affected by all of the different injuries and not having the same units, not having guys playing together?
A lot. You know, I mean, every day right now in our coaches meeting, we're saying, okay, who are we going to have today? You know, who's going to be able to practice today? You know, so we're trying to figure out combinations just to have 10 guys on the floor to be able to go through the things that we want to go through on both ends of the floor. So yeah, it does affect your game planning. It affects your practice because you want to have those guys out here. You know, so yeah, it messes up a lot of things. But you know, like I said, you can't sit there and cry about it. You just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, so with that aside, now you start to see things potentially creep into the regular season just because you've missed those 2 weeks probably. You just haven't had those units. How do you try to overcome that? You know, when it obviously doesn't look the same as
Right. Mike, all you can do is just practice. You know, just keep getting the guys out here, trying to get these guys familiar with one another as much as possible and familiar with the system on both ends of the floor. And then obviously we'll watch a lot of tape, you know, to show, you know, mistakes that we're making, to show the good things that we're doing, just so we can kind of, you know, emphasize those things on the floor as much as possible. But all of it's going to be just predicated on just getting on the court and putting as much time on the basketball court as possible.
What are the next steps for Clarkson and Xavier as far as practice? If you think they can get
Well, JC is getting close. He's getting close. You know, he's starting to run right now and everything. X, you know, he's still probably a little ways away. You know, and those would be 2 nice pieces to have as well. You know, back. So hopefully Tuesday, you know, Jordan will be able to play Tuesday or Wednesday. So if he can't play tomorrow, and I don't think he will be able to, but he'll get a good day of practicing on Monday, hopefully, and then we can go from there.
But it doesn't sound like maybe Xavier could get some preseason.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, if he does, it's probably 1 game, maybe. You know, that would probably be the last game.
With Nash, is that too early to determine whether he can get any more preseason games?
I think it is.
Okay.
You know, I still think we got to wait on Gary and the medical staff to, you know, keep treating him and see if we can get him back out here.
With only 4 more games to go, does the game plan change at all, or?
No, not right now. Like I said, I've always kind of stuck to the game plan until like the last 2 to 3 preseason games, and then go into more of a rotation. And that might change because of the fact of the injuries that we have. So tomorrow night is, you know, really trying to get a good look at Ryan, you know, if he's able to play, and go from there. And if Jeremy's able to play, you know, give him some minutes because he needs to be back out there on the floor as well. And then the last 2 games, we'll take a look at the rotations if possible.